You're trying to heal, but something dark is silently attacking your progress. Archangel Michael says it must be banished tonight or your energy will spiral. This is not a message for the masses. This is a divine warning, whispered in the spirit and thundered in the heavenlies, for you, the one who hath been sensing an invisible resistance, the one whose healing hath been delayed, derailed, and disrupted without reason. This is a word for those under silent assault. The heavens have marked tonight as the hour of reckoning. Archangel Michael, defender of the light, sword-bearer of truth, has stepped forth, and he speaks through this message now. You have tried. You have pressed forward. You have stretched toward healing with weary hands and a breaking heart. But something unseen, something unnamed, has pulled you back just before the breakthrough. Not once, not twice, but again. You felt it, didn't you? The random waves of sadness, the strange mood swings, the inexplicable anxiety right when clarity was near. That is not weakness. That is not failure. That is interference. Archangel Michael declares, this dark force has remained undetected for too long. It thrives in shadows. It manipulates silently. It operates in the background of your mind, weaving thoughts that are not your own, feeding fatigue that prayer can't explain, surrounding you with energies not sent from heaven. But tonight, the veil lifts. Tonight is not just another evening. It is not routine. It is not casual. It is the appointed hour. For those who ignore it, the spiral will accelerate. But for those who respond, still, obedient, and ready, protection will be established, and alignment will be restored. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Tonight. Because the assault that hides in silence must be banished before midnight, where its roots will deepen, and the momentum of your healing will turn into a cycle of warfare. Let it be known. This is not a general broadcast. It is a targeted revelation. If you are reading this, it is because the heavens selected you. The warning is precise. The hour is real. The resistance has been confirmed, and the decision is now placed in your hands. What you choose tonight determines your alignment. Obedience will summon angelic reinforcement. Delay will empower the darkness. Choose wisely, for Archangel Michael is near. Type "I will obey" tonight in the comments if this message is yours. Blessing code 777 is being activated over your mind and home. Before the midnight hour strikes, hear this call. This is not a suggestion. This is our motivational speech. This is a divine interruption in the natural rhythm of your life because something dark has crossed a line, and heaven is not silent about it. The Father has issued a summons. The gates of light have opened, and Archangel Michael, sword drawn, flame ignited, is standing over you now, not to comfort, but to war. There is a reason why you've been battling fatigue that defies rest. There is a reason why your thoughts have been scattered, why your focus has been leaking like oil from a broken jar. There is a reason why your peace, that sacred, hard-earned peace, has been slipping through your fingers like water. And it's not because you're weak. It's not because you're broken. It's because something dark and deliberate has been launched against you in the spirit realm. And now, that thing must be exposed. This is not your imagination. This is not just a hard season. This is warfare disguised as ordinary life. But heaven is speaking now. And if you can hear it, if your spirit is stirred, and your eyes are welling up and your skin tingles without cause, then know this. You were chosen to receive this alert. You were selected to carry this truth. You were called into this moment because what you're battling in the natural is rooted in the spiritual. And tonight, yes, tonight, is the confrontation heaven has scheduled. Archangel Michael has drawn near, not as a silent guardian but as a roaring commander. Sword of flame in one hand, shield of divine order in the other. And he is not coming to whisper. He is coming to cut down the confusion, to shatter the delay, to strike the invisible binding that's been holding your progress hostage. His presence confirms what your soul already knew. This is bigger than you. But listen closely. The darkness that is attacking you is not coming through the front door. It is not obvious. It is not loud. It is subtle. It is cloaked in exhaustion. It is hidden in the fog of distraction, in the delays that keep stacking up, in the conversations that start hopeful and end with anxiety. It is in the near breakouts that always fall short. It is in the confusion you feel when people shift without explanation. This enemy does not knock. It seeps. And that's why this message is not for everyone. This is a surgical word, sent to the ones who feel what they cannot explain. You know who you are. You've been sensing something's off. You've been waking up heavy, even after sleep. You've been questioning your own discernment, your own voice. Hear me. You are not crazy. You are not making this up. This is the alert you were waiting for. And Archangel Michael confirms you were right to be uneasy. This is not human advice. This is heavenly instruction. This is a divine war protocol. If you're hearing this, it's because you are marked for breakthrough. But the enemy saw the mark too. And now, heaven has raised its defense. But you must respond. The midnight hour is approaching. This darkness does not fear silence. It fears awareness. It fears obedience. It fears when the chosen rise up in holy agreement with the will of God. So rise now. Open your spirit. Go on, Micah. Say it aloud. I break every silent attack. I receive divine protection. I align with heaven. I will not spiral. I will ascend. Let your words be your warfare. The darkness is trembling because your awakening is happening. Type I am rising in holy fire in the comments if your spirit is being stirred. Blessing code 444 is igniting divine warfare angels around your dwelling now. You noticed it. You felt it. Strange disruptions. Emotional tremors. You're walking through your day, and suddenly, your chest tightens with no cause. You're fine one moment, and then, a shadow passes through your mood. You're thinking clearly in the morning, and by afternoon, it feels like your brain is trapped in a fog you can't escape. Focus is fractured. Peace feels distant. The people around you seem to shift subtly, not overtly, but with small, piercing changes that make your spirit tilt. And in your heart, you know something's not right. This is not all in your head. This is not just burnout. This is a calculated disruption sent to delay your healing and keep you circling in cycles that were already meant to be broken. You are not merely dealing with your emotions. You are battling engineered interference, tailored to your specific soul, woven into your environment by forces that study your rhythm and strike in your silence. They are watching you, but they do not see everything. They sense your progress, They sense your movement, but they cannot see the covenant that shields you. They sense your preparation, but they don't understand your consecration. That's why you become a target of confusion. Not because you're off track, but because you're finally aligned. And hell panics when obedience meets timing. Look closer. Listen deeper. The arguments that start out of nowhere. The conversations that twist into confusion. The sudden gossip behind your back, as if a spirit of suspicion entered the room before you did. It's not personal. It's strategic. The darkness is trying to rewrite the narrative of your life through the mouths of others, hoping to weaken your confidence through distorted perception. But here's the secret the enemy hoped you'd never see. Heaven has exposed it. And what was operating in stealth is now standing naked before the throne of justice. Archangel Michael has already located the source, and now the sword is raised. The war is not to find the enemy. The war is to banish it before it binds deeper. You've wondered why your usual prayers haven't brought release, why the worship that used to lift you now feels heavy, why journaling and rest no longer bring peace. It's because this resistance is not emotional, it's spiritual. It doesn't respond to routine, it responds to revelation. And now that your spirit is awakening to the mystery, the hold is weakening. You may feel drained. You may feel on edge. But that's because your spirit is detecting a shift. The veil is thinning. The unseen war is pressing into your visible world. The uneasiness you feel is a symptom of the spiritual collision happening in your atmosphere. But you are not unprotected. You are not helpless. You are not alone. Archangel Michael speaks clearly now. You must not absorb this darkness. You must reject it. You must not internalize these whispers. You must cast them down. You must not spiral into fear. You must rise in revelation. The enemy works in mystery, but heaven works in truth. And tonight, truth is standing taller than the lie. This darkness thrives in your confusion, but it dies in your clarity. Speak aloud. I reject emotional manipulation. I rebuke confusion. I renounce all unauthorized interference. Let the darkness hear your voice and know it can no longer linger in your atmosphere. Because you were not built to be broken. You were anointed to overcome. Type I am untouchable in the spirit if this word exposes what you couldn't name. Blessing code 8855 is now burning through emotional interference. If this message is cutting through the fog and confirming what your spirit already knew, then know this. You're not just receiving a word, you're helping to deliver one. Every seed you sow keeps this prophetic fire burning so that others under attack can find light. When you support this mission, you are breaking chains not just for yourself, but for someone else's healing. This isn't charity, this is spiritual warfare through giving. God says in 2 Corinthians 9:10, "Now he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also supply and increase your store of seed. That promise isn't for watchers, it's for warriors who sowed into the battlefield." I feel led to say this. If your heart is stirred, your obedience is the key. Your giving tonight is a strike in the spirit, a signal that you refuse to let darkness silence what heaven has released. Use the super thanks, join as a channel member, or sow through PayPal. The link is in the video description. This is divine timing. Sow into the shift. Receive the reward. Break the silence and move in boldness. Give now, and let your seed speak what your enemies can't silence. This is not about you being weak. This is not about you being broken. This is not about you being behind. This is war. And you are being targeted not because of what's wrong with you, but because of what's right. You carry a frequency that the darkness cannot replicate. You walk with a calling that cannot be erased. You've been marked, not just for breakthrough, but for influence, impact, and divine establishment. That's why the enemy has come, not through obvious gates, but through subtle sabotage, emotional fatigue, and relational tension. Because if it came loud, you'd resist. But since it came in shadows, it hoped to blend in. But hear me now, heaven sees it. Heaven is tracking it. Heaven is fighting for you. You must stop seeing your struggle as personal. It is positional. It in prophetic is a direct result of the light you carry. The attacks are not random. They are responses to your advancement. Every time your spirit gets closer to alignment, the darkness launches another distraction. Every time your heart begins to heal, another storm rises to disorient you. But that's not coincidence. That's strategy. And now it's being dismantled. The emotional pressure you felt, the exhaustion, the strange behavior of people around you, it's not about them. It's not about circumstances. It's about territory. There are realms you are being positioned to access, but those realms are spiritually contested. Hell never reacts to weakness. It only reacts to threats. And you, child of God, are a threat to systems of darkness that have gone unchallenged for too long. That's why heaven hath been watching. Nothing that has happened to you has escaped the eye of God. Every sleepless night, every back-ended comment, every delay, every moment of inner conflict that you couldn't even put into words, the heavens recorded them all. Your tears have been gathered. Your silence has been studied, not by demons but by angels. Because silence is not always surrender, sometimes it's strategy. And your silence, your restraint, your refusal to respond in the flesh, that was warfare. When you chose prayer over retaliation, you engaged in divine battle. When you sat in stillness instead of fighting back, you activated the angelic realm. Your stillness is a weapon. Your discernment is a weapon. Your refusal to descend into petty conflict is not weakness. It is wisdom sharpened by the Spirit. This battle is not about the surface. It is about the spirit beneath the surface. And now that you see it, now that your discernment has been sharpened, you cannot unsee what has been exposed. You are no longer just a target, you are a warrior. And the season, as painful as it had been, is not punishment. It is refinement. You are not being stripped to destroy you. You are being refined to strengthen you. Just as metal is forged in fire, you are being reshaped for the next realm of your calling. The delays, the detours, the denials, they are not proof of disfavor. They are evidence of divine process. So do not weep as if you've been abandoned. You've been surrounded. Surrounded by angelic watchers. Surrounded by divine instruction. Surrounded by the shield of Archangel Michael. He is not beside you to comfort your pain. He is stationed over you to confront your enemy. He is warring for the ground your soul is about to occupy. And heaven declares, this battle belongs to the Lord, but the endurance belongs to you. You will not fall in this fight. You will not spiral into despair. You will rise with clarity, with strategy, with fire in your eyes. Because what's been attacking you doesn't realize you were born for battle. You were born for this. Type "I am clothed in holy fire" in the comments if this word just shifted your mindset. Blessing code 1010 is now releasing clarity, strength, and spiritual boldness upon you. Let it be known what you do in these next few hours will either trigger your elevation or invite escalation. This is not about fear. This is not about panic. This is about positioning. Because the spiritual resistance you've been sensing is not stagnant, it is evolving. It is watching your indecision. It is feeding on your delay. It is growing in the silence of your inaction. And now, heaven has sent this final alert. If this darkness is not banished tonight, its grip will multiply. Archangel Michael is not speaking to frighten you. He is not releasing this word as a suggestion. This is a heavenly alert, a prophetic siren, a last chance command. In the next 72 hours, there will be an intensification of pressure. You will notice conversations shifting, interactions becoming subtly distorted, strange emotional energy building without explanation. People who were once peaceful will begin to behave erratically. Thoughts you already overcame will attempt to re-enter your atmosphere. This is not normal. This is retaliation. And the command from the throne is clear. It must be broken before it builds. Do not be deceived into thinking time is on your side. The enemy does not sleep. The darkness that has been stalking your progress does not rest. It studies. It waits. It builds systems of sabotage in silence, and when left unchallenged, it begins to multiply. If you feel tired, it will deepen the fatigue. If you feel anxious, it will compound the unrest. If you hesitate now, the atmosphere around you will start to bend toward resistance rather than release. This is why the moment is now. Heaven is not waiting for your strength, it is waiting for your obedience. The command is not to fight in your own might, but to bash through alignment. You don't need to force it. You need to come under divine covering. You need to respond before midnight, not because God needs urgency, but because darkness has a schedule. This spiritual conflict hath been assigned to destroy momentum. The enemy saw the rising of your energy, the acceleration of your healing, the soft glow of your awakening, and instead of launching a direct attack, it began a slow erosion, little delays, subtle losses, quiet betrayals. And if not addressed tonight, these patterns will loop. You will not just fight the same thing again, you will fight it stronger. But here is the mercy. You are hearing this message, and that alone proves that heaven is intervening. Archangel Michael does not show up for small resistance, he shows up when spiritual systems are threatening divine destiny. His sword has been drawn because your name has been spoken before the courts of heaven. You are not being ignored. You are being summoned into decision. This is the final alert before manifestation. Either the cycle breaks, or it intensifies. Either the momentum is preserved, or the spiral begins. You must take authority not in loudness, but in alignment. Not in force, but in faith. Not in reaction, but in surrender. Let the angel of the Lord do what you cannot. But do not stay idle while darkness multiplies. Speak aloud. I cancel all spiritual sabotage. I banish every spirit of delay, doubt, and confusion. I seal this night with obedience. I align with the instruction of heaven. Because after this night, what lingers multiplies, but what is banished breaks. Type "I break the cycle" tonight in the comments if you are ready to make heaven's decision your command. Blessing code 7777 is now disrupting every multiplying darkness and sealing your alignment. Be still now. Yes, be still. For the winds have already begun to shift in the spirit realm, and the atmosphere is being cleared for divine intervention. The call has been sounded. The sword has been lifted. The war has begun, but it is not your hands that will fight this battle. Archangel Michael had been dispatched not to inform you only, but to war for you. The battle belongs to the Lord, and his heavenly host has already surrounded what's been surrounding you. This is not a moment for noise. This is not the hour for panic. This is the moment where your silence becomes your sanctuary, and your stillness becomes your strategy. Too many are fighting battles they were never anointed to carry. Too many are arguing with spirits disguised as people, exhausting their oil in places where heaven never called them to speak. But you are being called into a different response. Not reaction, but rest. Not resistance, but retreat into the shelter of the Almighty. This is your protective instruction. Withdraw. Observe. Pray. Seal your atmosphere in divine silence, and let the roar of Archangel Michael ring out against the forces that have tried to suffocate your healing. This is not weakness. This is warfare and obedience. The flesh wants to retaliate. The soul wants to understand. But the spirit knows that in stillness, God moves without interruption. Some of you have felt the pressure to act, to explain, to fix, to retaliate. You've been baited into arguments, pushed into overexertion, and drained by false responsibilities. But listen, heaven is saying clearly, step back, and let me step in. Every moment you stay entangled is a moment you delay your deliverance. But the moment you surrender, truly surrender, a heavenly hand takes over. Do not confuse surrender with passivity. This is not passive. This is powerful. This is prophetic positioning. The enemy knows that when a chosen one stops talking and starts listening, stops fighting in the flesh and starts aligning in the spirit, a shift begins that cannot be stopped. You are not stepping away from the battle. You are stepping into divine coverage. Speak this now. I remove myself from the battlefield not assigned to me. I rest in the shadow of the Most High. I release control. I release retaliation. I release worry. And I welcome divine defense. As you do this, heaven hears. Angels move. The Spirit of God surrounds your home, your mind, your body, your emotions. Even while you sleep, there will be movements in the Spirit. Unseen forces will be displaced. What once resisted you will retreat, and what once oppressed you will be bound by heavenly decree. You must understand, your silence terrifies the enemy. Not because you're doing nothing, but because heaven is doing everything. The less you engage with confusion, the more clarity is released. The less you wrestle in the flesh, the more dominion you reclaim in the spirit. This is the paradox of spiritual warfare. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is be still and let God finish what your hands cannot touch. Archangel Michael is not just protecting you. He is clearing space around you. Space for your peace. Space for your restoration. Space for divine redirection. The battle that has been strangling your joy, your clarity, and your momentum is now being handled by the courts of heaven. Stand down, so heaven can stand up. This night, remain in stillness. Remain in reverence. Remain in prayer. Do not break formation. The sword is swinging. The fire is falling. And the enemy is fleeing. Type "I am shielded" in silence in the comments if you are stepping into the stillness that summons divine war. Blessing code 3030 is surrounding you with supernatural protection and holy clarity now. Look around you, not with your eyes, but with your spirit. Feel it. Sense it. Something has shifted. The air has changed. The atmosphere has responded. Because whether you realize it or not, whether you felt worthy or not, whether you felt strong enough or not, you have survived the pressure that was meant to silence you, and now heaven declares, you are no longer who you were when this battle began. This is not just a fight for healing. This has been a birthing of identity. You've been forged in fire, pressed in silence, refined in confusion, and yet you're still here. And not only are you still here, but you are wiser, you are sharper, you are stronger in the realm of the spirit than you've ever been before. This is not survival anymore. This is emergence. Every silent attack that came against you thought it was breaking you, but it was actually revealing what was already inside you. Power, authority, vision, discernment, boldness. You were never meant to stay in the state you were in when this began. Heaven allowed the war, not to harm you, but to elevate you. This was not punishment. It was promotion disguised as pressure. The enemy's greatest mistake was thinking you were fragile. That because you were healing, you were weak. But healing does not mean helpless. Healing is holy warfare. And you have proven, even in your lowest moment, that you are not a victim of darkness. You are a vessel of glory. The tears you cried were not in vain. The loneliness you walked through was not wasted. The nights you nearly gave up were not missed by God. Each moment you kept going, each prayer you whispered when your strength was gone, registered in heaven as an act of war. And now, the heavens have responded. Your spiritual promotion is here. Your mantle has shifted. And the enemy no longer sees you as wounded. It now sees you as armed. You have been elevated in the unseen realm. What was once a battle for survival has now become a battlefield of authority. And with that authority comes responsibility. You must shed the identity of the wounded and step boldly into the anointing of the warrior. Your mind must shift. Your words must shift. Your atmosphere must shift. Because you cannot carry yesterday's insecurity into today's divine empowerment. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. You are not being attacked because you're broken, you're being attacked because your light has become too bright for the shadows around you. And instead of cowering, instead of retreating, instead of apologizing for your power, it is time to rise. The fire did not destroy you. It purified you. And now you rise with clarity in your voice, with strategy in your spirit, and purpose in your eyes. You are not going back to who you were. You couldn't if you tried. The old version of you would not survive in the place God is taking you. The old patterns, the old fears, the old limitations, they have been burnt away in the secret furnace of spiritual refinement. Say it now. I am not who I was. I am not who they thought I was. I am who God says I am. I rise in full authority. I carry divine fire. I was formed you for this. Archangel Michael now walks beside a transformed vessel. And the enemy, once mocking your healing, now fears your elevation. Because the healed version of you is not just surviving, it's ruling. Type "I have risen from the fire" in the comments if you know your transformation is already in motion. Blessing code 4545 is unlocking your next level of authority and spiritual identity. Now listen, with your spirit, not just your ears, because what I am about to reveal is the key to why the warfare has felt so intense, so personal, so strategic. The enemy didn't strike randomly. The resistance didn't surface by accident. This battle was the evidence. The very attack you've been enduring is not a contradiction to your calling. It's the confirmation of it. Heaven speaks now. This attack was the signal of your release. You've been asking why it hit all at once. Why now? Why this wave of confusion? Why the exhaustion, the delays, the interference that made no sense in the natural? It's because something is about to break open, and the darkness caught the scent of your promotion. There is something in you, something holy, something divine, something destined, that is about to be made visible, and the forces that have lurked in shadows panicked. That's why the gossip rose up. That's why relationships shifted. That's why the exhaustion hit you like a storm without warning. It wasn't weakness. It was the enemy's attempt to distort your vision right before heaven unlocks your next dimension. And Archangel Michael wants you to hear this clearly. Your warfare is not a punishment. It's a prelude. The moment the darkness intensified was the moment your name was spoken in divine places. The angels know your assignment. The demons fear your assignment. But now you must believe your assignment. Because heaven has already aligned your steps. The doors are opening. The chains are breaking. The influence is expanding. You have been chosen for a spiritual unlocking, and the attack you endured was the clearest sign that your release is closer than you think. Even now, in realms unseen, the doors are creaking open. The scrolls of destiny are being read. The oil is being poured. You're standing at the edge of fulfillment, not because everything is perfect, but because everything has been purified. God does not promote the comfortable. He promotes the ready. And ready is who you've become. Your name has been written into a season of acceleration. And though you felt like you were losing ground, heaven was expanding your territory. Though you felt like your voice was silenced, heaven was amplifying your reach. Though it seemed like your prayers were hitting walls, your words were actually forming weapons in the spirit. And now, that moment, the divine crossing over, is upon you. What was once delayed is being delivered. What was blocked is being loosed. What was hidden is being unveiled. And what was stolen is being returned with interest. The enemy tried to convince you that your delay meant denial, but it was a setup for a public elevation. The pain you've carried is being transformed into power. The shame you endured is being replaced with favor. And the confusion that tried to bury you is being burned away in the fire of clarity. This is not the end. This is the unlocking. And this message is the key. The battle was the confirmation. The pehu was the preparation. The shaking with the separation. And now, the release is the reward. Declare it aloud now. I am stepping into what hath been prophesied. I receive the unlocking. I am crossing over. I carry heaven's endorsement. Type "I am unlocked by heaven" in the comments if this word confirms what you felt in your spirit. Blessing code 6060 is activating doors, strategies, and angelic movement for your release. If this word has stirred your spirit and confirmed what's been echoing in the silence of your heart, then you already know. This is not just a message, it's a mantle. Every time a message like this goes forth, it tears through confusion, ignites deliverance, and breaks chains in households you may never see, but heaven does. The fire we're releasing here is not just for you. It's for the thousands still fighting in silence. When you sow into this assignment, you are helping us carry the sword of Archangel Michael into places where the word has not yet reached. You are helping bring clarity to the confused, light to the oppressed, and spiritual protection to the unshielded. This is not a donation. This is divine reinforcement. The Lord says, "I will open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing so great you won't have room to take it in." That word becomes living when your giving becomes active. This is your moment to partner with what heaven is doing. Give through Super Thanks, become a channel member, or release a seed through PayPal. The link is in the description. The word has gone forth. Now let your giving go with it. Stand with the mission. Fuel the fire. Advance the kingdom. Now is the time to speak. Not just in thought. Not just in intention. Not just in hope. But in bold, holy declaration. Because destiny does not respond to silence. It responds to alignment. The Spirit of the Lord is hovering over your life, waiting, watching, listening, not for your excuses, not for your delay, but for your yes. Heaven is not asking for perfection. Heaven is asking for agreement. What you release from your mouth will unlock what has been locked in the heavens. This is the turning point. You are no longer at war with what was. Now you must step into what is becoming. You have been called, but now you must activate the call. You have been protected, but now you must move with power. Everything you need is already within you. It's not waiting to be given. It's waiting to be spoken. And when your words align with the voice of heaven, the atmosphere around you must shift. Say it with authority. I speak life. I speak strength. I speak purpose. I speak victory. I declare that I am who God says I am. I refuse to spiral. I rise in destiny. Let the powers of darkness hear it. Let every assignment sent against you be shattered by the force of your agreement. There is power in your declaration, and there is a moment of divine transaction happening now. The angels are on standby. The scrolls of your next season are already written. The oil has been poured. The gates are open. But heaven will not force you through them. It will not drag you into destiny. It will wait until your voice says yes, until your mouth becomes a trumpet of truth, until your words cancel what fear tried to whisper, until you speak life in a place where death once ruled. You don't need to know how it will unfold. You don't need all the answers. You just need obedience. Because obedience is not just movement. Obedience is agreement. And once you say yes, once you speak the truth of your calling aloud, once you reject the lie and embrace the light, momentum will begin to build in the spirit. This is not just an emotional breakthrough. This is a divine commissioning. You are being released into a version of yourself that the enemy has tried to block your entire life. But that version of you, the healed one, the bold one, the anointed one, already exists in heaven's plan. You're not creating it. You're stepping into it. And your words are the key. Do not retreat. Rise. Do not shrink. Declare. Do not apologize for your authority. Wear it. The darkness is waiting to see what you'll choose. It doesn't fear your potential. It fears your decision. Because when you decide, when you declare, when you move, everything shifts. You are no longer negotiating with fear. You are no longer submitting to delay. You are no longer wondering if you're worthy. You are activated. You are chosen. You are unstoppable. This is the hour when your obedience becomes a weapon. This is the moment when heaven records your agreement and hell trembles at your awakening. Speak now, not as a victim but as a vessel. Speak now, not to be heard by man but to be backed by angels. Speak now, and activate what has already been written. Type ISAYYES to heaven in the comments if your destiny is being activated through your declaration. Blessing code 9009 is opening the gates of purpose, clarity, and supernatural momentum over your life. There is a silence you cannot hear with your ears. A stillness not of this world. A realm behind the veil where things move in mystery. Where angels operate under divine command and heaven's justice unfolds without announcement. And right now, even as you listen, even as you sit in reflection or prayer, there is a silent exchange happening in the spirit realm. Heaven is reclaiming what was stolen. Strength is being returned. Peace is being restored. Glory is being reclothed upon your name. You may not feel it yet, but something is already happening. Not in your emotions, not in your surroundings, but in the heavenlies. The unrest you've been feeling, the strange sense of unease that's lingered even after prayer, it was not just stress, it was spiritual awareness. Your spirit was sensing movement. Angels trading back what darkness illegally held. Heaven negotiating on your behalf. Because what you've lost in the natural was never just about what was seen. It was about the weight in the unseen. The clarity that slipped from your mind. The momentum that vanished. The emotional stability that crumbled without explanation. You didn't just lose energy, you lost access. You didn't just lose people, you lost peace. But heaven saw every theft. And now, by divine decree, there is a reversal in motion. Archangel Michael is overseeing the retrieval. And not just a retrieval, a restoration with interest. What was stolen in silence is being returned in silence, but the impact will be felt in public. You're about to wake up with strength you didn't have before. You're about to think with a clarity that will surprise even yourself. Conversations will begin to flow again. Ideas will return. Fire will stir. Because heaven is putting back into place what hell tried to dismantle. And here's the mystery. It's not just restoration. It's divine compensation. For every delay, heaven is releasing acceleration. For every breakdown, there is now an overflow. What was withheld from you has not been forgotten. It was being stored, multiplied, waiting for the righteous time. And now that you've obeyed, now that you've aligned, now that you've declared, the exchange has begun. While you rest, while you worship, while you sit in quiet surrender, heaven is working. The angels have not been idle. The transactions of the spirit realm do not require noise. They require agreement. And your obedience with the agreement. Your silence was not passive. It was permission. And now that permission has unleashed movement, you will begin to feel it, not as a storm, but as a settling. The peace will return first, then the focus, then the ideas, and the anointing. You'll find yourself responding differently, walking lighter, breathe easier. The things that once haunted your thoughts will start to lose their grip, not because of therapy, not because of time, but because heaven reclaimed what was never else to touch. This is the holy reversal, the great exchange, the divine trade-off happening in secret. And though your enemies will never understand it, and your friends may never notice the moment it happened, you will feel it. Because what was out of place is being repositioned, and what was misaligned is being restructured under heaven's hand. Speak it aloud now. What was stolen is returning. What was silenced is singing again. What was broken is becoming whole. I receive the restoration of heaven. Type "Heaven is restoring me now" in the comments if you believe the silent exchange is already moving for your life. Blessing code 7744 is activating recovery, rest, and divine repayment. Justice is not delayed, it is deliberate. And heaven declares this day, the scales are shifting now. The battle you have been enduring in silence, the confusion, the resistance, the betrayals, the spiritual fog, it has not gone unnoticed. Every whisper spoken against you, every unseen curse released toward your name, every seed of sabotage sown in secret places, it has all been weighed. And now, by divine authority, the balance is being corrected. Justice is not coming. It has already begun. This is the hour of divine reversal. Heaven is flipping the script. The same mouths that gossiped will soon go silent. The same eyes that looked down on you will witness your elevation. The same people who thought they had hindered you will watch as you rise anyway. But this is not about revenge. No, this is righteous vindication. Because the Lord will not allow what was done in darkness to stand against the light of His will for your life. There are things you suffered that were unjust. There are words spoken that wounded you more than you admitted. There were rooms where decisions were made about you without your presence, without your truth, and without your defense. But hear this, heaven was in those rooms. God saw what was hidden. God heard what was whispered. And now He speaks with fire. What they sent against you is returning tenfold, not as wrath, but as justice. The traps that were set for you will become the pits in which the enemy falls. The snares, the setups, the manipulation, they are being turned. Not by your effort, not by your retaliation, but by divine reversal. The Lord is turning their words into wind, their curses into ash, their plots into nothing. For no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises in judgment you shall condemn, not by flesh, but by righteousness. You must understand that spiritual justice is different from human justice. God does not just repay, He restores, elevates, and exposes. You will not simply be made whole. You will be placed higher than before, for what the enemy meant for evil, God has already turned for good. The delays have set the stage. The pain has prepared the platform. The lies have only enlarged your audience. And now heaven is making it clear. This is your season of divine reversal. You will know it's real when the very people who overlooked you now attempt to reattach themselves. You'll feel the shift when what used to drain you can no longer access you. You'll see the shift when favor begins to open doors that no man can close. Doors not earned by status, but by surrender. This is the justice of the kingdom. Unmistakable, undeniable, unstoppable. So do not weep for what you lost, for it is already being replaced with better. Do not mourn over who betrayed you, for they were removed so that no part of your future could be tainted by their presence. Do not fear those who once held influence over your life, for they have no say in what God is about to do through you now. The sword of Archangel Michael has not just been swung for your protection. It has been swung to restore honor where it was stolen, to reestablish order where it was disrupted, and to reverse every spiritual injustice that tried to hold you back. This is the decree of heaven. This is the declaration of divine balance. Speak this now. The scales are shifting. I receive justice. I walk in restoration. I declare divine reversal over every area of attack. No force can stop what heaven has ordained. Type "the scales are shifting" for me in the comments if you feel justice unfolding in your favor. Blessing code 8282 is reversing cycles, restoring truth, and realigning you with divine victory. Hear this now, and let every realm listen. The warfare has been real. The confusion has been thick. The resistance hath been strategic. But tonight, the darkness that crept in through whispers and delay has met its final breath. What once clung to your healing journey, silently attacking your energy, is now facing the judgment of God's presence. This darkness must be, and hath been, banished. Not tomorrow, not later, but tonight. This was never just about emotions. It was about alignment. This was not just a battle for healing. It was a test of positioning, obedience, and endurance. You stood your ground. You received the word. You aligned with heaven. And now, as your name echoes in the spirit realm, a decree is being sealed over you. You are covered. You are cleared. You are chosen. You are sealed in protection. The attacks that once landed now pass over you. The interference that once drained you now dissolves at your presence. Archangel Michael's sword has not only severed the roots of silent sabotage, it has drawn a line that darkness cannot cross again. Your home, your body, your mind, your spirit, all have now been enveloped by divine armor. The spiral hath been stopped. The atmosphere has been cleansed. You are seen by heaven. Every tear, every quiet prayer, every moment you almost gave up, God recorded them all. You were never abandoned. You were being observed by angelic eyes, guarded by a holy perimeter, even when you felt most alone. Heaven saw your restraint, your obedience, your surrender, and now, the reward is arriving. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are seen. And now, you are being sent. Not back into survival. Not back into cycles. Not back into the same battles, but into a higher dimension of divine authority. This battle was the doorway. This confrontation was the key. You are crossing the threshold into territory that hell tried to keep from you. But it's yours now. Because you didn't just endure the attack, you conquered it with obedience. To walk in confidence. Speak in power. Stand in clarity. The air is clean around you now. The interference is gone. The assignment has been clarified. You are stepping forward under the command of the Most High and the protection of His heavenly host. You are not just healed, you are commissioned. You are not just protected, you are appointed. Let this final declaration seal it all. I am covered by heaven. I am guarded by Michael. I am cleared by fire. I am chosen by God. No weapon formed shall stand. No darkness shall remain. I am light. I am destiny. I am sent. Let it be written. Let it be sealed. Let it be done. Type "I am sealed and sent" in the comments if this final word has confirmed your crossing over. Blessing code 9999 is completing the cycle, sealing your protection, and releasing your next assignment. If this message has touched something deeper than words, if you felt the Spirit move while listening, then let this moment be more than a blessing. Let it be a breakthrough for others. Every offering, every act of generosity, helps this message reach another soul standing on the edge of their deliverance. You are not just watching. You are participating in a prophetic movement. This is your moment to sow into divine ground. Your seed doesn't just bless a message, it empowers a mission. When you give, you don't give to a voice. You give to a vision from God to break cycles and release healing into homes, timelines, and destinies. As the Lord said in Luke 6:38, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." That word is alive now. Activate it. You can give through Super Thanks, become a channel member, or sow directly through PayPal. The link is in the video description. This was not entertainment. This was an encounter. If it changed your spirit, let your seed change someone else's. The harvest is waiting. Let's reach them together.